Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it is, of course, I was going to say it's your favourite day of the week, but it's not. We've had to switch up the time, because as is always the case, Locks and Corey are mixing it with the big boys in Europe these days. So us Leeds fans down at the bottom end of the table have to work around them, man. So, yeah, not great. But listen, it's Wednesday at 6:30, new time, just for this week. It is, of course, Before the Whistle Blows, my favourite show of the week. Plenty to get through, loads of fixtures. We've obviously got another international break coming up as well, which is absolutely shite. But it is what it is. So full fixture list to go through. We're also going to check up on the current standings when it comes to predictions. There's some big shocks in there, some big changes in there. I'm not liking it, I can't lie.
I've done awful, man.
I think I've had an all right week. I think I had a few correct scores this week.
A few. You've smashed it out of the park, Mr. Marriott, I can't lie.
Come back from a 5-point deduction.
Exactly. Wait till you see it. But Oscar, before we do that, how are you, mate? All right?
I'm good, mate. To be fair, I think Before the Whistle Blows, what's this game? Week 7 now. We've got
7, yeah.
I'm just hoping we stay up because I don't really fancy doing this when it's Luton versus Stoke next season. That's quite a depressing thought, isn't it? But no, mate, I'm good. I mean, Watford's a big game, but I'm just trying to stay calm about it, really. Just trying to stay calm. I might have been a little bit hot-headed after the West Ham game.
A little bit? I'm going to talk to you about this as well. You said we were shocking.
I was fuming. I was next to Phil, and I barely even said goodbye to Phil after the game. I just literally just shook his hand and just went, basically, afterwards. He says, head it gone,
Was it that bad?
It was horrendous,
It wasn't for me, bro. I watched Oscar's video and he was like, we were shocking. I was like, eh?
I might have been a bit harsh.
You also said Rodrigo needs to come out of the side, and I thought he had his best game of the season.
He needs to come out. I'll stand by that. He needs to come out.
It's all about opinions, innit? It's all about opinions. Corey, how are you feeling, mate? Obviously, talk to us about the weekend, how the game unfolded, what you thought of Leeds United. Will we be okay? Because all I keep seeing in my comments from West Ham fans is Leeds will be totally fine. Obviously, Leeds fans are saying we're going to get relegated. But what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah. No. I agree. Do you know what? I watched back last week. I was so dismissive of Leeds because I hadn't seen anything where I thought, they're going to be the same Leeds as last season. And I thought in that first half, you were exactly what you were, and it just took us completely. It's the worst half of football West Ham have played, and it's the best half of football that Leeds have played. And I thought for 30 minutes, you played us off the park, and I was sitting there going, it's naive. Creswell's getting torn to bits by Rafinha. There was a lot of positives in there for you, and I think I spoke to Oscar the other week regarding the preview, and I said, I feel that you've got to go and find those energy levels, and it felt like you'd missed it, and I wasn't sure how you were going to recover that, but there is definitely something there. I think in terms of the result, changed it up slightly second half, a little bit more defensive. We worked on the counter a bit more effectively, and that's exactly done. Obviously, Creswell was getting no protection whatsoever. He was getting torn to bits, and I had my head in my hands going, this is just too much. But we got back into it. I think a draw and a fair result, but at the end of the day, for that last goal, it was just a bit of quality, wasn't it? It was Dice with a fantastic pass and Mickey Antonio with a great finish. So, yeah, happy to get out of there with 3 points because I've got to be honest, there was a point in the first half where I was like, I would snatch your arm off for a draw if we could pull it off.
Yeah, I think as well at half-time, Corey, I was going, I can't wait to see him because I thought we were just going to go from strength to strength. I was thinking, this is in the bag, and then obviously we, wasn't the best second half.
That is a slight under thingy. We weren't good second half. I can't have that. West Ham dominated second half. I do still think that.
Yeah, although we had a chance to make it 2-0 in the second half with Mateus Click.
We did, but But then Melier's had to make. Well, the only thing I'm saying is Melier's had to make 4 or 5
Yeah,
really
that
good
if
saves,
you'd scored
and we
that,
still
you would
lost
have won.
the game.
You would have won 100%.
We
Oh
would
yeah,
have,
that goes
Corey,
in.
right?
At that point, I think we probably win the game 3-0. To be honest, I think we absolutely cruise it then. But as soon as that missed, then Rafinha comes off. Then it's 1-1. Then it's just like you just know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Corey, what did you make to our boy Creswell? He pocketed Antonio for large parts of the game. I was so impressed.
Yeah, I was really impressed actually with Creswell, to be honest. You did earmark him, and I thought, oh no, he's Joe the Prophet with his mystical ball again. But in fairness to him, I thought Mickey didn't have a great game. He wasn't really the Mickey that we're used to seeing. I think that's a credit to your press. Your press was so good that West Ham's service into Mickey, everything was a lofted ball, everything was in the air, and Creswell just ate it up. And I think second half we adapted a little bit, and obviously we were much improved. And Mickey tried to get on that half shoulder a bit and beat him for pace, but genuinely really impressed with him. I'm surprised he hasn't been closer to the starting 11. We talk about problems in terms of actual defenders. He seems like he's the mold. He's physical, he's big, he's good in the air. He was aggressive when he's pressing Mickey. So, yeah, definitely, you've got a player there. I'll just jump out and then I'll jump back in. Unless it's all right.
Cool. Yeah, I think you're back with us now, mate. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Because we were having to wait like 5 minutes for you to respond.
I know, bro. I know. I'm sorry.
It was getting very awkward, weren't it, Oscar?
It was. It was an awkward silence. I tell you what, it reminded me of that awkward silence. It was the same silence as when Rafinha went off and Tyler Roberts came on in Ellen Road.
Yeah.
It was that 5 seconds of just like, is anyone going to clap here, or is it just me?
Do you know what I did? Like when the ball went through to Mikel Antonio, I went, no, because you just knew when it fell to him at that point. I was like, this is going in the back of the net, man.
Oh, it's great. It's a great finish, and credit by the way to Melier. Actually, I thought Melier had a great game again. Like every time we play him, he seems to pull off a few worldies. So it was going to take something for West Ham to just break apart that Leeds defence that held together. Honestly, genuinely, in terms of your perspective on things, don't worry, because if you're looking for a bit of a blueprint moving forward, that first half is one. And I think when you get those energy levels back up and you press as well as you do, it's tough. It's tough to play against. Teams that will want to play out from the back won't be able to do it because you're that good at it. So, and if you get Rafinha on for 90 minutes and don't take him off in the 70th, I think you'll be even better.
Well, we don't lose the game. For me, I genuinely don't think we lose the game if that sub's not made. I genuinely do think that just invited West Ham on when we made that sub. But we had to make it, didn't we? Because Raf was like basically...
Well, he has to come off, didn't he?
Yeah, he had to come off. You could visibly see that, he wasn't 100% right in the game. But he was to play the way he did is just remarkable, really, considering.
He had to... He has to come off, didn't he? He has to come off. And it did. I wish he'd have gone with Somerville as opposed to Tyler. But it is what it is. We didn't win, and we move on. And listen, I'll stick my neck out, and I'm gonna say it in my preview. I don't care if I get clipped up or whatever. We will win on Saturday. We will win. We will beat Watford on Saturday. I'm convinced of it. I am convinced of it. It is. I think we've got to win, man, and I'm convinced it's going to happen on Saturday. Genuinely, the performance against West Ham has really got me going. So yeah, I'm enthused, and I'm looking forward to it. There was, and I see it in the chat. Yeah, I'm gonna call you out, Jikanji. Jikanji, you were there, last week, saying any Leeds fans that think we have a chance against West Ham are deluded. You were calling people in the chat deluded.
Yeah, but Joe, we still lost the game.
I don't care though, bro. I don't care. What I'm saying is, it was 90th minute, man, and people didn't even give us a hope or prayer. That's why I didn't understand the fallout from the game that I've
Do you know,
seen on social media.
It's emotional. I was sitting there when we scored. Obviously, I was buzzing, but it would have been
Yeah.
sickening to be a Leeds fan. I do really understand that, but you have to look at it from the situation that you have been in for the 5 games and assess, is that better than what you've seen? And if you can replicate that, then you're going to be absolutely fine. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
So don't panic, man. Like Joe, you said last week, 10 games in, and then we'll see. You didn't even have your key players. Let's be honest. Rafinha could have stayed on for 90. If Bamford's in there, it's again problems for us. Look how open we were when you were on the counter. There's so many things to be happy about given the injuries. So I wouldn't worry about it. I would have taken a draw all day. If we were sitting here on a draw, I'd be buzzing. I'd be like, get out of there and just get on with the next game.
Oscar's right though, and the lads in the chat are right, but going, but Joe, you did get
we
beat.
did still lose the game,
right? I do get that, but what I'm saying is, you'd think people thought we were just, going to get cut to the sword, and I don't know. We gave West Ham a really good game.
I was annoyed at the goals we gave away. That's probably what more annoys me about the result. In terms of how Declan Rice in the 90+ second minute has got time to look up, dribble, look up 2 or 3 times, and just pick out Antonio the way he did is sickening, really, the way that goal went in. I think, obviously, the first goal as well, because me and Phil were obviously in the south stand.
An ounce of luck, though, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there was. But why did Cooper and Firpo swap? That happened like 30 seconds before the goal went in. It was like, when they're going to swap back?
Yeah.
When they're going to swap back? And then it was just, the goals were really poor to give away. That was maybe probably the most disappointing thing. But then again, I think West Ham, as I said, they'll finish top 5, top 6.
Yeah.
They're one of the better teams in the league. So it's not, all's not lost. I don't think we get punished as badly against a Watford as we did in that game. When we have little moments where we switch off. And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100%, man, 100%. And like I said, we'll get to the Leeds game soon, because I'm going big, man.
Oh, no, Joe.
Trust me. No. We are back. We are back. I'm telling you that much. Because if we're not, then shit's hitting the fan if we can't beat Watford. It's a fact. But, right, let's go to this is just as bad as Leeds at the minute for me. We obviously didn't have a look back at week 5 and week 6. So I'll just quickly do that now. I'm going to share my screen with you guys just so we can see where we're at in the league table of predictions. What I am going to do as well, obviously we don't have no locks this week. So what I'm going to do is just select someone at random in the chat to give me a score prediction for locks. Now, Locks is doing pretty well, and he never turns up. So if you want to give us a wild prediction so that he loses points, do that as well.
Who's Locks?
I don't mind. Yeah, who's Locks?
Who actually is he? Who is he?
Leicester fan.
Was that the Everton
I'll share my screen with you, right? So this was week 5. Okay, we didn't do this last week, so we had like 6 or 7 people here, didn't we? It was a bit of a wild one last week, but you can see there a couple of correct predictions in there for Locks, a couple of 5 points. I think they were the only 5 points of the weekend. I got -4. David, the Irish Hotspur, was standing in for Corey, got -4.
Cheers, Dave.
Tottenham fan.
Yeah, typical Tottenham.
Love that.
Oscar got himself 1 and Locks got himself 6. So did really well. So there's the current standings, as it were.
Oh.
Wayman dropping down to bottom. And look at Oscar. He came from getting -5 to just topping the charts. However, week 6 got a little bit worse for me and more specifically Corey. As you can see.
I knew it was brutal. Oh my God. Save.
-12, Locks -5, me on -8, and Oscar still managing to get points on the board.
I love that.
So yeah,
so some people struggled as well. I've nearly
it wasn't
me out
just
on
you. I mean, -12 is still really bad, mate.
Yeah, all right, all right, mate. Yeah,
but you're still not bottom, mate. That's been saved for me at the minute. Oscar smashing it now, 7 points on Locks/guess. So there's an update on the current league table. What we will have to do, guys, is some sort of forfeit for whoever comes bottom for sure. We'll sort something out anyway before the season's done. But yeah, Oscar, how are you feeling about that, mate? You smashing it.
I'm feeling good. It's a decent comeback, mate, but it's early on in the season. Yeah, we're still a long way to go.
Yeah.
A title challenge might be on. The title challenge might be on. I might do an ollie here. And what was it Locke said? It'll be a story if Oscar wins the before the whistle blows predictions table. It'll be a story.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Yeah, definitely for sure. Right, let's get straight into this week then. And talking about Ollie, let's talk about the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. It's Manchester United versus Everton. Ollie's on a bit of a mad one at the minute, isn't he? Like, obviously, lost to Young Boys. Only really scraped to win against West Ham due to Mark Noble. You know, that penalty miss, let's be honest. They then lose to West Ham midweek. They then get beat by Aston Villa. Home Bruno Fernandes missing a penalty, the last kick of the game. Especially when you consider Ollie, we're talking about, we've stopped getting penalties since Klopp, and then they get a penalty and they go and miss it anyway. Seems a little bit rattled. They've got Villarreal tonight. I mean, they were beaten in the Europa League final by them, so they might get beaten again tonight. But time's running out for him, Oscar. So surely he has to get back to win. I mean, they might win tonight. They probably will. I think they will. But let's say in the league, they have to get back to winning ways, don't they, mate? They've got Everton at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's already been mentions. Obviously, I live closer to Liverpool, but I'm not a million miles away from that city. There's already little murmurs about Conte, you know. Little murmurs that, you know, in terms of Ronaldo being there. Ronaldo, when you sign Cristiano Ronaldo, you've got to win trophies. He goes to, and if he's going to any club, he goes on the premise that he's going to win the trophy. And I think he'll get to a stage where if they continue to underperform and it turns into like a top four race rather than a title challenge, I think Ronaldo has got a lot of influence at Man United. Yeah, I know obviously he's not been there as long as Solskjaer, but I still think with the way the Glazers look at it is that their big asset in terms of marketing, that's all the Glazers and Woodward and all that lot are bothered about is marketing. If their biggest asset, Ronaldo's not happy, the whole brand's weakened. So I think Ronaldo, unfortunately, may well force that kind of change. I do think it's happened before at Madrid, it's happened before at Juve, it could happen at Man United. But yeah, he's got to win games, Solskjaer. There's no doubt about it. You know, all this complaining about last week against Aston Villa, he's just chatting absolute nonsense, as always. You know, I think obviously the pressure's starting to tell. I think Everton's an interesting one. It depends what Everton you get. If Everton are the Everton like they have been at the start of the season, then absolutely brilliant. You know, in terms of Damari Gray's been superb. Townsend's been one of the surprise packages for me. He's been absolutely stunning. But the thing with Everton is I've still got that in my head about that Villa game away from home. You know, where they absolutely capitulated. So that's the big thing, really. Obviously, Rafa will want to put one over Man United. There's always been that big rivalry between him and Man United. The fact it's obviously Everton as well. But yeah, I think Everton have got a decent little shout here. I think they'll definitely make a game of it. Even if they don't get a result, they will make it hard for Man United. It's not going to be a walk in the park at all, this one.
Yeah, no, for sure. What did you make as well, Oscar, too? Because obviously I didn't see the game because, you know, I was watching City versus Chelsea and then was, you know, making my way to the ground and whatnot. But what did you make to the fact that Ronaldo let Bruno Fernandes take the penalty?
Weird, to be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that at all. I thought all the way it'd be Ronaldo taking the penalties. I think even if you're Bruno Fernandes, you'd probably give the penalty to Ronaldo. But I know Bruno's not that kind of character, and you saw that with the whole thing about the social media stuff. I mean, that's just that makes. I think we've got to a stage in football when anyone makes a mistake or misses a penalty or anything, they've got to put a thing out on social media. It's completely defeated the object now. I don't think anyone cares about that kind of thing anymore.
Yeah.
And then you got all the players saying with you and all this lot. You're thinking he's missed a penalty. You know, do you imagine that?
It's not like right. It's not like what happened at the Euros, is it? It's one game against Villa at home. Do you know what I mean?
No one's going to remember that in 3 or 4 months' time. No one will remember that. Pablo Hernandez missed a penalty against Wigan in that game that we lost in the first season under Bielsa. And if he put that in, we might have got promoted in that first season.
Yeah.
No one looks back at Pablo's career and talks about that, do they? You know,
you can say the same about Nobes. Like, Nobes has not missed a pen for 4 years, and I literally cannot get that irritated by the fact that he's missed it. It was what it was. You know, you get over it. It's a day, and that's it. This social media posting about, I missed the pen. Bearing in mind as well, if you actually just specifying, Bruno scored most of his penalties. Is it really that big a deal in the grand scheme? I know it's the last minute of a game. You'll be disappointed, but Man United.
It's a league game, isn't it?
But there's the bigger picture here, and what gets put under the carpet a little bit is Manchester United should be beating Aston Villa at home. It's simple, as good as Villa can be. So, again, it's Ollie, innit? It's what Ollie's created, this kind of horrible atmosphere where it's a blame game all the time, just to hide the fact that he's a poor manager. He's a poor coach. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, for sure. Corey, do we know if Everton, do they have DCL back, Richarlison, or are they still like Rondon, is it up top?
I think it's still Rondon. Oscar touched on Andros Townsend. Him and Damari Gray have impressed me, I think. Yeah. And you look at Everton's midfield as well, albeit in a 4-4-2. Doucouré and Alan, that's not a bad centre midfield pairing, particularly Doucouré in terms of being a...
It's better than Man United's, for me. I'd say it will compete. I'd take that over Man United's.
Yeah, exactly, and I think as well that there's a balance there with what Benitez wanted to do. He wanted to get wingers that could get him behind, and Damari Gray's actually shown not only a player that's quick on the ball and quick in the transition, but he's effective and he's got a bit of end product as well. I think they'll go to this game and Benitez will be quite content in sitting back in a low block, and he'll wait for the opportunities, because Manchester United player-wise, quality-wise, it did it to us, right? When we sit back, they can break you down for a moment of brilliance. So it might happen, but I think Benitez might fancy his chances that Manchester United play the same type of play over and over again, and then they just exploit the space. That's what they'll be looking. I think Maguire's out as well. So as slow as Rondon can be, if he can hold the ball up...
Shaw out as well, bro. Shaw out as well.
I've heard Shaw's out as well. That's interesting, because I think Tellez is a player that's going to get forward into the final third a little bit more. I think Shaw's a little bit more complete. So again, there's vulnerabilities there. I think Man United will just do it, by the way. I think it'll be a 1-0 and it'll be a moment, but Everton give it a good go for me. And I think they're a surprise package this season, despite the lack of signings.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's funny hearing Oscar say about Damari Gray and Andros Townsend, and I battered them signings. I absolutely hammered them, and they've both come in and they've absolutely hit the ground running, and really improved Everton. Really improved them, really. They're the ones getting the goals, aren't they? They're the ones doing the biz, and the price that they paid for them, obviously Townsend on a free, and I think Damari Gray was 1.5 million. It's a bit of a mad one, isn't it? It's one of them as a Leeds fan. I look and think, 1.5 million, a squad player could have. But at Leeds United, we don't get that, do we? Because they have to be specifics. But I can understand a lot of other probably managers around the division thinking, why didn't we take a punt on that? He's a great squad player, I think, for some sides. So let's get some score predictions. Guys, give me some score predictions in the chat for Man United versus Everton for locks, and I'll pick one of them. I'll put random. I am going to go for a Manchester United win. I'm going to go 2-1 in this one. Oscar?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm going to go 2-1. I think Everton will have large spells of the game, but I just don't think Keane and Mina is good enough to keep out Ronaldo, Fernandes and that lot. I feel a bit for Rafa, but it'll be 2-1 Man United.
And Corey?
I'm going to go 1-0 Man United.
Okay, and Jordan Dix has gone for 9-0 Everton. So lock that one in.
Yes, take it.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal, mate.
I will be a little bit fair, but I thought we'd start 9-0 Everton for locks.
He's not turned up again. 9-0 Everton.
9-0 Everton.
He only does this part-time, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's part-time. Isn't it? To be fair to Locks this week, he is actually, it's not his missus this week. He is actually travelling to Warsaw to watch Leicester in the Europa League tomorrow.
We don't have Wi-Fi in Warsaw.
Well, the thing is, Oscar, get this. He's not even travelling yet. He's sleeping so that he can get up early and go earlier. So he said, I'll be in bed when it's on. I mean, come on. It's only an hour. Like, it's not going to affect you that much. You're on an away day. Like, what are you doing? There you go. Leicester have got singing sections now, though. So, you know what I mean? That's what we're dealing with, I think, at the minute. But, yeah, Locks has gone for Everton 9, Manchester United 0. Let's do a quick fire on this one. Burnley versus Norwich. both teams winless, aren't they? Both teams winless. So weak, don't get me wrong, but I mean, something's got to give. I don't think... I'm still convinced, me as a Leeds fan, that Norwich get their first win against us, so I'm going to go for a 1-0 Burnley win. Oscar?
Yeah, 1-0 Burnley. It'd be a shocking game, 1-0 Burnley.
And Corey?
I'm going to go 2-0 Burnley. 2-0
Burnley, and we're going to, for locks, Harmony is give us Norwich 2, Burnley 1, so locks going for them.
Oh, no.
That's a fair one, man. Nice.
Oh, I don't know.
Are you sure?
Norwich?
He's scored 2 goals all season, and you're going to back him in this game against Burnley's defence.
There you go. So that's locks as 2-1 to Norwich. Watch this, and I bet locks gets the most points next week. I'm telling you. Right, let's talk about Chelsea versus Southampton, the next fixture. I'm just going to have a quick look back. Not one of us. Oh, I tell a lie. Locks actually predicted a Man City win. But I just didn't see what happened last week. I just didn't see City getting anything. I obviously backed Chelsea in this one. Were you guys surprised how the game unfolded, Corey?
I'm probably an awful person to ask because I didn't watch it. But I heard. I heard they struggled to play out from Manchester City's press, and they had a little bit of a clinic on them. So I'm surprised at that. I thought Chelsea would have been able to deal with that a little bit better.
Yeah, Oscar.
Yeah, I think from 15 minutes in from Billy's bar. Chelsea just parked the bus. Chelsea went 5 at the back, 3 holding midfielders really: Jorginho, Kovacic, Kante, and just Werner and Lukaku up top. And it was kind of smash the ball up to Lukaku and Werner and hope for the best really from Chelsea. They didn't really show any intent. I thought City, there's so much space. I just thought it was quite an easy routine win for City, and really, I think it should be more than 1, really. I think Mendy's been outstanding this season with Chelsea, some great saves. And I think it's one of those, I think, when you're Tuchel, and I don't think it's been particularly... I think he's obviously done an unreal job at Chelsea, but I don't think it's been particularly fantastic to watch most weeks. I think they're just being built on clean sheets, and obviously Lukaku producing at the other end of the pitch. But when it does go wrong, I can imagine that fan base won't be too happy with that, the way they approach that City game, because that's a real... All of a sudden, it's out of their hands now, Chelsea, because if Liverpool and City draw, they're kind of almost left behind. They've got a little bit lucky with Brentford, obviously getting that result against Liverpool. But yeah, I think they're definitely going to have to change that approach in the big games. Going to have to definitely be more on the front foot. There's no doubt about it. But Southampton, that's quite a nice game to come back into, I think, to be honest.
And how do you see this one unfolding then, mate? Do you think Chelsea, Stamford Bridge, just swat Southampton aside?
Yeah, I think obviously Southampton, I think obviously Armstrong, we've already said before about Ings to Armstrong is a bit of a downgrade. I think Armstrong's obviously a little bit better in terms of pressing in that lot, but he's not Danny Ings, and I don't think they'll get many chances, Southampton. They haven't been particularly clinical all season. I'll go 2-0 Chelsea, relatively routine.
Cool. Corey, how do you see this one going, mate?
I'm going to go the same. I think the one thing to bear in mind with Southampton is they have changed a little bit this season. I think they will sit deeper. They'd be a bit more compact. I'm not saying man for man that they've got the quality to keep out Chelsea. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the problem is going to be the midfield. There's a lot of pressure from those Chelsea midfielders. And if he brings in a player like a Mount, a Havertz, again, it's going to be a lot for Ward-Prowse and Romeo to deal with. So I think it's probably fair. I can see a bit of a 2-0 Chelsea shutout.
Yeah, I was just having a look here on the old Premier League site as well, and it says Lukaku has scored 9 goals in his 12 Premier League matches against Southampton. Against no side has he netted more in the competition other than West Ham. I think he must have scored 9 against West Ham.
I hate seeing that geezer against us. He loves it. I bet he can't wait. 4th of December, he'll be buzzing for it.
There you go. So there you go. That's from the horse's mouth. So I bet Southampton fans will be thinking the same as well. So I expect him to get back amongst the goals as well.
Never scored against Leeds, though.
Hasn't had a chance, mate.
Go, every club.
Well,
have we played him?
You don't need to go into specifics. I'm just stating facts here. That's all I'm doing here, lads. He's never scored against Leeds.
That's fair. I'm going to go for 2-0 as well. 2-0 Chelsea win against Southampton. Someone give me a score prediction for locks in the chat. Let's have one get in this some earlier on. Right, we'll go Leeds 2021 has gone for 3-0 to Chelsea So we'll take that one for locks. Right. Leeds versus Watford. I've already gone big. I'm going to set my stall out now. We will win this game, and we will win it well. I'm not disregarding what. Listen, I haven't seen Watford this season. I can't tell a lie. However, I am aware of Sarr. I am aware of Emmanuel Dennis. I think Ismaila Sarr, we know from before. Surprised that he's still at Watford, and he's been getting amongst the goals for them this season. He's their main threat, and he's a player who can carry the ball a bit like ASM. And I think ASM's rubbish, but you know what I mean? It's that sort of, I guess, them sort of players can cause us problems, right? They can beat the press, they can beat a man, and then it all opens up because the man marking's all over the shop, etc. However, I think we have too much for Watford, and the performance against West Ham gives me hope that as long as we start taking our chances, we'll be fine, and we're going to take our chances in this game, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 Leeds United win. I am that confident. Oscar, anything to add on to that? Are you going to bring me back down to earth with a bump?
I can't see it being that comfy, to be honest, mate. Even if Watford are good. Watford are a good team. In terms of Sarr and Dennis, I know they get a lot of the headlines, but I think they're a pretty solid team, Watford. I don't think they'll come out gung-ho against us. I think it might be a bit frustrating. It'll be them playing on the counter a lot in the game. I think that's how the scenes are set up under Xisco, especially, I don't know if it's Xisco or Xisco, I think it's Xisco. Away from home, they tend to be a little bit more on the counter. And they've picked up some good results, to be fair to them. Obviously, they beat Villa on that opening day of the season. And just thought they looked absolutely lightning on the counter. And I just worry a little bit about Firpo. About Firpo on the left back in terms of on the counter. We saw him against Bowen get caught out on that first goal that West Ham scored. Again, it's one of them. I think obviously Meg King Richards pointed it out. Firpo is not fully at it yet. I think there's clearly a good player there. But against Sarr, we're going to have to be careful about that. I think obviously the man-to-man marking, they're going to get moments, Sarr and Dennis. Dennis only can be ruthless. Josh King's actually seems to have done relatively well for him as well up top. So it's not a bad front three, that, in terms of how it works together. It's not the best front three in the league or best outside the top six or anything like that, but it's a decent front three that'll get you goals. I think in midfield, they're a bit like us, maybe a little bit light in midfield. That might be a battle that we can win a bit more convincingly this time. If Click and Dallas can pass the ball in the whole 90, that'd be good. Especially Click. The way he kind of dropped off after he missed that chance was a little bit worrying. But I think we win this game. I think there's enough about us to win this game. Hopefully Bamford's back. I don't know if that's being confirmed.
I've not heard anything as of yet, mate.
I think if Bamford's there, I thought James looked good, to be fair, in that first 45 against Watford, not against Watford, against West Ham. So it'd be interesting to see if he keeps his place on that left-hand side. I think we've got enough to win. I think with Rafinha in there, there's the fear factor. We can target their left back. They're not the best man for man at the back. They've just got a decent little system. But if we can get Rafinha running at them, creating that little bit of space, I think we can win this game. But I don't think we can keep a clean sheet either. 2-1 Leeds.
2-1 Leeds. Okay, Corey, how do you see this one going, mate?
I think it'll be 2-1 Leeds as well. I think Watford will look to sit a bit deeper, soak up a bit of pressure, and hit you on the counter, and maybe they'll get opportunities. I think Ismaila Sarr is a fantastic player again. I think he'll hurt you at times, but I think you've probably got a little bit too much. And if Rafinha plays, you have got that bit of added quality where one moment he can shoot from outside the box, or he can take on a player and create space. So I think 2-1 is fair for me. I don't think it would be as comfortable as a 3-0. I can see Watford getting something.
Yeah, but you also said you'd steamroll Leeds and you didn't quite do that, did you? So there you go.
Still won though, mate, didn't we?
Still won the game. They still won the game.
You come with chest after losing
I've
in the
got to
90th
take my
minute.
small wins. I've got to take my small wins.
I even backed you. I even gave you it, man.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did, mate. I'm joking. Loxy's going for a scrappy Leeds United 1-0 win from the very lovely Lucy Chappell. Hope you're doing well, Lucy. I haven't seen you for a while. I hope the new job is going fantastically well. Leeds wins across the board, though. That's good. That's good. A lot more positivity in the chat tonight as well for Leeds fans. No hour-long,
Therapy session.
counselling session this week.
Deary me, that last week, that was...
Yeah, it was deep.
Even I was feeling down after that.
Yeah, it was deep, wasn't it? It was deep. It was, right. Let's go on to two other poor teams. I feel like I'm not saying we're a poor side, but I feel like these are our neighbours currently. Like, this is where we're at. Watford, Burnley, Norwich, and the next one is Wolves, Newcastle. We're in that sort of ballpark unless we start getting wins on the board. This is what I'm saying about the next fixtures being huge for Leeds, because we've got Watford, we've got Norwich, we've got Wolves. These are what we need to win. But yeah, we'll move on and do Wolves, Newcastle. Newcastle still searching for their first win. Haven't seen a lot of Wolves for the last few weeks, if I'm being totally honest. Is Adama Traore still ripping it up, but still not scoring goals? I think that's what he does.
Have you seen his stats for dribbling, Traore, compared to the rest of Europe?
Go on.
I think he's got. I think it's something like he averages 10 dribbles, like completes 10 dribbles a game. For context, I think Messi completes like 6.
Yeah.
He's second. That's. Yeah. I mean, Traore's mad. He's bizarre.
How many goals has Traore got?
Yeah, no, exactly. You
want, know what I mean, though?
I don't get
Big shout out your boy Messi last night, by the way, as well. Like, that goal, bro.
There was tears. There might have been tears, to be fair. I'm not going to lie.
Tears.
It was
Do you know when he picked it up in that, where he picked it up and then obviously cut it? I just said it. I did a watch along on the channel, and it was the first real time he picked it up in that area. And you just knew, man, and that little 1-2 and then bang.
It's an unbelievable finish. It's an unbelievable
He made it look
finish.
easy.
Yeah, that's the mad thing, isn't it? Unbelievable,
yeah, it was
man.
Mad, wasn't it? Yeah, mad. Right, come on then, Oscar. Talk to me about Wolves Newcastle. Who wins the battle of the shit wingers? Alan St. Maximin. Traore.
We've not played Wolves in a few weeks as well. This is where
well, mate, do you not remember last season when I said he was absolutely rubbish and he scored against us last season?
It was the flukiest goal, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a mad fluke.
No, Wolves are a much better team than Newcastle. It's just they can't put the ball in the back of the net. I think Wolves are decent, I think Jimenez, I don't know if you saw Jimenez's goal against Southampton, that he's back, in terms of when he's scoring a goal like that. I think he goes in a run now. I think he's one of the best strikers outside the top 6. And I think Wolves will finish the season really strongly. But I say finish the season really strongly. They're only 6 games in, but I think they're gonna have a good season, Wolves. They're a much better team than they were last season. I fancy them to win this against Newcastle. I just think Newcastle, unless St. Maximin produces, I think even Willock's drops off a little bit this season so far. He's not quite, getting the goals he did last season. I just don't see how Newcastle get at Wolves, to be honest. And I think Wolves will have, if you want those games where Wolves will have 70-75% of the ball, probably 4 times as many shots, but they'll probably just about win because they can't quite find that finish outside of Jimenez. I think Trincao, good player as well. But they'll win this 2-1 Wolves.
2-1 Wolves. Corey?
Yeah, I agree. Wolves are struggling a little bit just in terms of being clinical, but Jimenez's finish on Sunday was fantastic. And I kind of, outside in looking, just wanted him to get a little bit of form because he was such a fantastic player before the injury. And he's not the quickest, but even for those goals, just the physicality, the great footwork he will do in this side. And they've obviously got Trincao and hopefully Neto will probably come in later in the season. So they'll be all right. In this game, I think it will be a case of too much for Newcastle. I think they'll dominate possession, Wolves. And you can see a Jimenez goal at some point, or you can see a goal maybe from a set piece. They are a good team, Wolves. It's just purely the finishing for me. So I think they'll win this one. I'm going to go 2-1 as well.
2-1. I'm going to go for a bit of a ball draw. I am going to go for 1 apiece. I think 1 apiece. Newcastle have been drawing a lot. I'm not too sure on Wolves, but then again, like
who scores for Newcastle?
Who
scores for Newcastle?
ASM, doesn't he?
Got to be
ASM, doesn't he? Obviously, you know what I mean. He's the only man that can score for them, isn't he? I still don't rate him. I do rate his social media game, though. I will say that much. I think he's quality on social media. I don't know. Did you see his tweet of that Steve Bruce run when he says how FIFA give me 91 pace and him 99 or whatever it was? I'm going to go for 1-1 anyway. Helen Walker has gone for 3-1 Wolves. That's going to be Lox's prediction. 3-1 to Wolves. Next game, guys, is the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday. It's Brighton versus Arsenal. Brighton, good side. Love Graham Potter. The more and more time goes on, the more I think I want him to replace Bielsa. I do. Him or Steven Gerrard. This, for me, is the real test for Arsenal of where they're at currently, because we know what they did to Spurs, who, by the way, as well, guys, I spoke to David. David was supposed to be with us tonight, and he did say to me last week, I will be here, but it all depends on the North London derby. And then for the last 2 days, I've not heard from him at all. And then about dinner time today, he messaged back and went, sorry, mate, I can't make it. So I think David's in a world of pain after what Arsenal did to Spurs at the weekend. But Arsenal obviously have now, is it 3 on the bounce? Norwich, Burnley, Spurs?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But I think this is a real test for them, because Spurs just rolled over, tickle my belly kind of thing, and they should be beating Burnley and Norwich, to be fair. So this is a real test, because Brighton have started really well, Oscar.
Yeah, they have. I thought they got a little bit lucky on Monday night, though. I did think Palace were much better on the night, but it shows difference to Brighton. Like last season, they definitely lose that game to Palace by quite heavily, I think. But they found that bit more resilience. Cucurella has been a brilliant signing at left back. Obviously, Lamptey's come back in. They're going to have a strong season, Brighton. Shane Duffy, by the way, he's had an unbelievable season, hasn't he? He's stepped up. He's been fantastic for a fantasy football team. $2.5 million cost. Absolute bargain, by the way. There's your tip for this week on fantasy football. Because
I got that from Tom Carnduff. I follow him.
No, I've had Shane Duffy in early doors.
Have you?
Yeah.
So I've had him for a couple of weeks, but not since the start. But he tipped him as like one, and I've had him in as well. I also put Cucurella in, if that's how you pronounce it, as well, when they signed him. But sorry, Oscar, I've interrupted you again. I'm always doing it. Sorry.
No, it's all right. But the interest of Ben White, obviously coming back to Brighton, he's really turned it around, I think, Ben White. Well, I say turned it around. He had one bad debut, and then obviously Arsenal fans jumped on him. But I think, to be honest, they've done good business, Arsenal. If you're looking at Tomiyasu, he's a real battler. I really like Tomiyasu. He did a brilliant job on Son, I thought, in that game. Partey is starting to obviously get regular game time. I still think he's far too good to be playing for Arsenal, to be honest. But he makes a real difference to them. Even Aubameyang's starting to perform. So, yeah, I think Arsenal, in terms of performances, they've actually been doing relatively well last couple of weeks. I think it all kind of came together against Tottenham, but you can't read too much into it. I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans saying top 4 still on. They're a better team than Man United. Man United just got better players.
I've seen that.
It's too early for that, But to be fair to Arteta, you look at that team, the way they played against Tottenham, that's the best I've seen Arsenal play for a long time, to be honest. I think they were very good. Obviously, defensively looks solid. I don't really associate that with recent Arsenal teams at all. But Ben White, Gabriel, nice little partnership there. Ben White, he's the classy player. Gabriel's a bit more physical, wins his headers. Tomiyasu, obviously, right back's doing a good job, and Kieran Tierney, I think, has always been a decent player. So they've got a good back 4 there. And I think they've built a good starting 11. The depth's a bit of an issue. I think, obviously, if Aubameyang gets injured, Lacazette coming in, it's a big downgrade, that, for me. Or if it's Eddie Nketiah, I think it's a big downgrade, that, from Aubameyang, in all honesty. But I think Brighton will give it a really good go. But I'm going to back Arsenal here. I think Saka put in his best performance since the Euros against Tottenham. I think he really looks back and on it. It says that the persistence on that goal he scored was superb. So I think they're just about going to win this game. Ramsdale's the one, though, isn't it? That's bizarre how well Ramsdale's done so far. The save he made off, was it Lucas? I think the save onto the bar in the second half. That's unreal. But I know it's early days on Ramsdale. We've seen him for a season at Sheffield United have a shocker. So, 2-1 Arsenal. I think they'll just about win this.
Nice. Corey, obviously being down in that there London, how's it been? Are Arsenal becoming a little bit unsufferable against the 1-3 on the bounce? What's the crack?
They might be. I didn't hear mutterings of top 4. I think that's a little bit excessive.
I've seen it today.
There's been mutterings, mate.
Let's have a bit of realism here. I've got to be honest. They beat Burnley, they beat Norwich. Arsenal were fantastic, by the way, so you have to give them plaudits for that. But Tottenham were incredibly poor, and they were naive, and they almost fell into Arsenal's game plan a bit. I think Tomiyasu is a fantastic signing. The right back for Arsenal was a big problem for a long time with Bellerin. And I think having him there, he recovers really well. He's very good one-on-one. It's just a bit of an upgrade. And it allows Saka on the right to get further forward, and he's a bit more prominent, and he's not as defensive. So in that sense, it's better. The press from Arsenal was better. Emil Smith-Rowe was fantastic. I think this one will be a stalemate, though. I really do rate Brighton, particularly this season. I know, again, I thought Palace were good against them on Monday, but I can see it being a little bit of a stalemate, in all honesty. I just think Brighton have got something this season. It could be a set piece. We know Ben White struggles with those aerial duels. If you bring Shane Duffy and Lewis Dunk, it might just come down to that. But I think maybe Arsenal fans are getting overexcited because it feels like there is a little bit of stability. It feels like, okay, we've got a team now. There seems to be a bit of a structure. And they may do okay, but for me, they're nowhere near top four. Like, they're just not. It's just a long way to go.
Top six at most, isn't it? They're not breaking top four. If they perform at the level that those players can, we're talking Aubameyang and Smith-Rowe and Saka, then top six is possible. But I just, you look at some of the teams in that top four band, it's a different level for me, and they have declined, so it naturally will take longer for them to get back up. The only thing I say about Arsenal is that the lack of European football, I think, is helping them now. I think obviously since come back from the last international break, you've had two kind of like Champions League.
Now let's not forget though, they've only played Norwich, Burnley.
Of course.
Spurs. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's the fact they're keeping clean sheets in those games. I think Burnley away. I think normally you think Arsenal, Chris Wood will just bully them, kind of thing. But they did a bit of a job on him, and I think it's Arsenal. That's a big project. You're not sorting Arsenal out in one season, but I think they get top six, maybe just behind West Ham. I think maybe they just get into that top six bracket. Still, for the investment, that's probably the minimum goal, isn't it? I think they've got to win. Well, they've got to be looking to win the FA Cup or League Cup for me as a minimum as well. But no, I think they're certainly going in a better direction than Tottenham are. You can see what Arsenal are trying to do. Tottenham, that's just an absolute mess. I mean, Nuno's probably gone if he loses this next game.
Let's save Spurs. Let's save Spurs. Let's save Spurs. They're not going to win the League Cup either, Arsenal, because they've got Leeds United in the next round. So that's not happening because Leeds United are going to progress, aren't we, mate? You know what I mean? We're going to win the Carabao nowadays. Did you give me a score prediction for this one, Oscar?
2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Corey. Yours was 0-0?
1-0, mate.
1-0. I'm going to go for a Brighton win. I'm going to go 1-0 Brighton. 1-0 Brighton. Gamer Guy Ethan's given us a prediction for locks. It's going to be Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. Next game then is first one on Sunday. Crystal Palace versus Leicester. Obviously, locks can't tell us, but what's going on with Leicester? Everyone expecting these to be the next to break into that top four. And I genuinely feel that, I know it's still early days, but I don't know if you guys agree with me. I was saying this the other day. I feel their opportunity has gone. They had an opportunity when they won the Premier League to get regular Champions League football. That opportunity, that window of opportunity is never open for long. And they were in the Champions League for 2 seasons, longer than everyone else around them. And then for the last 2 seasons, both dropped out right at the death. And it sort of killed them. And I now look at the top 4 again. City, Liverpool, Man United and Chelsea, no one's getting in there, regardless of what people might say, Man United, etc. Over the course of 38-game season, Man United, I know they've got Ollie, but they have enough individual quality to get them in there. And I don't know if you agree, Oscar, I feel that they've missed that chance now, and you might find that Brendan might move on to a bigger club because I think he is a great manager.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case of Rodgers has lost the dressing room or anything. I just think they've kind
of... No, I'm not saying that. I just think there's more chance of him
going,
I need to be getting European football regular at some point.
If I'm Tottenham now, I'm testing that, to be honest. I'm testing Rodgers and thinking, see if he maybe heads over this time. Now that things are going a little bit wrong at Leicester. I just think Leicester, Maddison's been the big one, hasn't it? I don't think they've ever quite... I think since Maddison's form's dropped off, I think they've lacked that focal point to really create things. I think Tielemans, they always play him a little bit deeper, trying to control the tempo, but he can't do everything, Tielemans. So Maddison's got to take a lot of that creative responsibility. I don't think he's gotten goal or an assist since February, I think Locks was saying. That's not good enough for your number 10. You need more than that for your number 10. And obviously, I think Barnes has had a bit of a slower start to this season. Lookman's not quite settled yet either. I just think they're very reliant on Vardy for the goals. I think Leicester. I don't see who's getting the goals outside of him at this moment in time. Fofana's injuries obviously come at the worst possible time. I think that was always going to be a massive, massive blow. But I think with Leicester, it's a bit like obviously Everton. In terms of the back end of kind of Moyes when Martinez first came in. You sort of felt like the opportunity was there to then kind of break the top four. They didn't take it, and then obviously some players' heads start to turn. I think naturally the top four has that bigger spending power, and the gap starts to widen. I just think that's happening for Leicester at this moment in time. A little bit similar to Wolves, I guess, under Nuno. That gap starts to widen, and it gets harder and harder to bridge the gap, really, because it's like it can't last forever. That in terms of the recruitment they're doing, it's been unreal the recruitment they've done, but they can't hang the hat every season on finding that one or two superstars out of nothing. Eventually it's going to have to be down to the players that have been there for 3 or 4 years really stepping up. And I think now, even like the likes of Johnny Evans, Vestergaard's been okay, but I think Pereira's obviously come back in, bit of a drop off from him as well. So I still think they'll be mid-table-ish, but I think in terms of Europe, they're going to have to go for Europe. I think that's the big thing. Rodgers will know, realistically, in terms of league position, they're probably not going to finish 6th or 7th. I think there is 7 better teams than them at this moment in time.
Which is mad, isn't it, Oscar, when you consider where they've been the last 2 seasons?
But they dropped off last season. We've got to remember that. They were very comfortable in kind of like January, Feb. I think, to be honest, it was after we beat them in that game in January that I thought going into that game was probably one of the games I was fearing the most away at Leicester, especially when we went 1 down in that game. But the way that game kind of turned, and then after that, they did drop off massively, Leicester. But I think it was something like, was it 4 wins from the last 16 or something? Either way, there is no way Liverpool or Chelsea, where they were at the time, I think where they were in January, should have bridged that gap and finished in the top 4. There was no way that should have happened. And there was that, the casino incident as well. That didn't help matters. I just think, it's a good job they won the FA Cup. I think that's the thing. In terms of when you look at Rodgers, what he's done an unreal job there. But I do think when that opportunity comes for Rodgers, which is inevitable, as I said about Tottenham, there might be a few teams abroad who might look at Rodgers. I don't think he will be at Leicester next season. I think he will see this as kind of like, he doesn't want to become a Pochettino at Tottenham. That's the thing with Rodgers. You still hear me, guys? You still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
I think it's me.
But he doesn't want to become a Pochettino at Tottenham and stay forever there. That's the thing. If he gets the opportunity to move, I think he takes it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Right. Did you hear me asking about the Wi-Fi? Can I just check that?
No.
It
weren't quite shut the door, Joe. It weren't quite shut the door on my channel.
I don't know if you've seen that. Like, I thought I was muted, and I went, shut the door, and Corey went, what? I went, oh shit. There you go. It was brutal. Yeah, no, I think you're right, Oscar, mate. You made some fantastic points there. Locks, obviously, you yourselves this season beat them 4-1. I think they've only got wins against Wolves and Norwich. I'm just having a look at their results. Yeah, they lost against Brighton, lost against City, etc. What do you think's going on there, mate? You've seen them firsthand this season.
Yeah. I think it comes down defensively. From what I understand, Evans not being in that side's really hurt them. I don't think they quite Evans and Fofana. I think if they were both playing again, they've got a stable base. You look at some of the goals that West Ham scored against them. It was pressing high and it was forcing errors, and maybe you don't get that with Fofana, who's quite comfortable under that type of pressure. So Soyuncu's in bad form as well. The problem you've got, and Oscar alluded to it, was they've won the FA Cup. They've been on a ride of momentum with Rodgers in the team for probably 2-3 seasons now. And it feels a little bit like they're on the come down from that. And where, if you're a Leicester fan, you might be slightly worried is if you do have a poor season by their standards, an 8th or a 9th or even a 10th. I don't think it'll quite get to that. But then the Tielemans will look to move on. Maybe a club looks at Ndidi. We spoke about Rodgers. You think that how well run Leicester are, they'll have a plan in place to move on. But so far this season, they are being found out a little bit defensively. And not just talking from West Ham's perspective, because we obviously beat him last season twice, but that is a worry for them in terms of how they're going to reinvent things, how they're going to deal with those issues. So, yeah, probably slightly concerning from their point of view. But again, they've got quality players, and I think if they can get it together, of course, that they're a bit of a force.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get some predictions on this one. I'm going to go for Palace, just due to what we've seen from Leicester so far. And Palace being at home, I'm going to say 2-1 Crystal Palace. Oscar?
Yeah, Palace are good. I think you've admitted early doors that Vieira one might be a bit of a
I quickly got out of the kitchen, mate. I knew. I was like, I'm not
early
there.
on as well, to be fair. I'm pushing that out early on. Palace, to be fair, they're playing really good football. Gallagher's, again, we don't even need to talk about how good Gallagher is. He dominated the battle against Bazuma.
Thing is, Oscar, now though, every time I go on social media, people are going, he's good, that Gallagher. I was like, I'm dying to go, I fucking told you. But there you go.
Well, the thing is, he dominated the battle against, in terms of against Brighton and that lot. In terms of Brighton without Bazuma, he just was there. He just dominated that battle, really. They're going to win that game. Palace made 2-1.
2-1. Corey?
I'm going to go 1-0 Palace. Honestly, I was watching Palace versus Brighton the other day, and imagine if you'd seen that 4 years ago, the standard of football would have been a lot less than what. And it's actually shocked me, Palace's progression in a number of weeks. Their pressing's fantastic, like it really is, and worries me a little bit about them because when you're talking about the top 10 are moving up, Eze to come back in, Michael Lise we haven't seen yet. That Edouard they brought in from Celtic looks a really good buy. I think they win this one 1-0. And it probably wouldn't even really shock me, to be fair, the way that both teams are at the minute.
Yeah, for sure. And it's quite surprising as well that Locks has also gone for a 3-0 Crystal Palace win. So, I mean, even he's not having it. Although last week, when Locks was here, he did predict a loss.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly. So, yeah, he'll be on that anyway. Right, let's talk about Spurs then, Oscar. You were talking about them just a bit ago. Spurs take on Aston Villa. Yeah, BTEC Mourinho in all sorts of bother. I know Corey's a fan of his, to be fair, but do we think he could get sacked? Do we think he could get sacked?
Yeah, I think you got to think about with Nuno is that he wasn't nowhere near first choice for the job. He was nowhere near first choice. I wouldn't imagine he'd have a big payoff clause at all. In terms of
I think it's only a 2-year contract, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's only 2 years.
It's a bit. I don't want to sound harsh, but because I rate Nuno, I think in terms of managing a club outside the top 6, I think he's one among the best options you can probably get in terms of managing a club outside the top 6. But for Tottenham, in terms of that job, I mean, he's been on to a loser on that one from the off, really, with the Kane situation. That's been a massive blow. The fact that Tottenham kind of made a big thing about they want to play progressive football, that's put a little bit more pressure on him as well. He won't quite. The thing is, against Arsenal, you've got quite an attacking team in terms of Ali and Ndombele in midfield. That's quite attacking, really, and only really having Højbjerg to protect it. And inevitably, they got absolutely ripped to pieces by Arsenal. And to be honest, it's not going to get much better against Villa. I think Villa are a good team. And I just think the fact it's the way they're losing as well. It's not the fact they're losing like by the odd goal. They're actually getting battered in games now. Battered. As soon as they go 1-0 down, the heads drop and it just becomes inevitable. As soon as Arsenal scores early doors, I was watching it with my mates. We all said that Tottenham aren't getting back into this. They're done. 1-0 down, 10 minutes in. There is not a chance Tottenham are getting back into this game. It'll probably be more goals yet. And when that third goal goes in, Kane loses the ball and he basically just puts it on the plate for Xhaka when he chases him all the way back. It just sums up where Tottenham are at the minute. It sums it up.
He gave it away, right? He gave it away and then went up the other end. Did
exactly.
you see Lee Gunner?
No, I didn't see him on.
Lee Gunner. He was going, he's done it again, that Harry Kane. He's given us the ball.
But he's having a shocker, isn't he, Kane? I mean, you can make excuses for him in terms of the service, but it's just like you're watching him now, Kane. You're thinking he does realise he's a striker, doesn't he? He does realise he has to
be there. And I think, you think back to Levy, the way that Modric and all that were handled, and maybe they came back and were better. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Kane, it's gone the other way, hasn't it? Kane's gone the other way. They're going to lose money on him, and they've got a lad playing there who clearly doesn't want to be there.
It's backfired, didn't it? Like they thought if
massively.
they thought, and even I thought, Harry Kane's a professional. There is something about his body language where now he's going. Again, the positioning is a huge issue. I didn't think positionally. I thought he was slightly better in the fact that he wasn't dropping back to the halfway line in this game, but his whole demeanour is completely different. He knows he's at a club where he doesn't want to be there. The team's not even really working to his strengths, in fairness. There's no creativity. Sorry, going off a tangent, but Ndombele's playing in a double pivot. I don't know why he's there. He should be playing in a number 10, being more progressive. It's nuts. It is a sinking ship. Now, I personally love it, but I do feel sorry for Harry Kane a little bit where, you're right. If a club comes in for him now, they're only going to get 80 mil, 90 mil, I feel.
That's a lot, though, considering his performances. I think if I'm Tottenham and getting that now, I'm thinking, I tell you what, the thing with Kane as well is...
because I think as well, Oscar, he goes straight to a City or whatever and just starts scoring goals again.
I don't think he does.
Really?
Really? Why?
I think there's a lot. Kane, he just doesn't look fit to me either. It just like in terms of his pre-season, I think he's done himself in terms of like the fact he skipped pre-season. I think Kane's at risk of turning into a bit of a Torres in terms of he's just going to drop off a cliff. In terms of the fact
you're man. You're having a go at me for saying Leeds 3-0 and you're saying Kane will be a Torres. No way.
Torres was a good player, but I think Kane's past it now. I do think he's past it. I think
his mobility is a big concern. If you're looking at him, he actually seems to be getting slower. And I didn't really. But having said that, if you pluck him in a City team and you say you play the number 9, that's your position. We'll play into your strengths. For me, he still gets 20 plus goals, plus a couple of assists as well. I still think he's good enough. I still think he's at that level. He can't decline that much, but definitely his body language and definitely being under Nuno isn't just not helping him.
But you say that, Corey. The thing is, I don't think you can suddenly change your style, like kind of flick a switch where he goes from being... Because he does the same for England, what he's doing now.
Yeah.
I just look at it, in terms of it at City, I just don't think that works. I think City, if he's going to City, he needs to be a fixed 9. And when you're suddenly going from being able to drift all over the pitch and play like a quarterback up top, or whatever you want to describe Kane as, I just don't think you can suddenly change. In the middle of a season, I don't see it for me with Kane. I think it's sad, really, but I just think he's massively. It's weird. He's just dropped off massively. I mean, even when his mobility's always been a problem, but that chance he missed against Arsenal to make it 3-2, you're thinking that's a player who's really, really struggling confidence-wise, and he'd obviously do better in a City team.
I understand him though. That sounds mad. I don't. I mean, he's on fucking mega money and that. But what I'm saying is, like, he's given everything to that football club. Everything for me, right? And he's got to a stage where he's been told he's got a gentleman's agreement. And he's being made to look a mug. Like, all of us can sit here and go, gentleman's agreement will leave you clown. But imagine how that would make you feel seeing this being said by well-respected pundits and pros and all he's got his brother as his agent, clown, all this sort of stuff. And he's just thinking, I'm England's captain. I give everything to this club. I've been told I can move on. The move was there. He's probably now worrying, thinking, what if the move never happens? Do you know what I mean? There's all sorts. And then you've got to factor in his family, what they were probably preparing themselves for the move and all this sort of thing. And I feel for him. I do. I think, you know what? I think I understand why it's being portrayed on the pitch because, I mean, I think at least with Mourinho's done stuff.
Yeah.
Mourinho has done stuff. Kane can accept and he's. I know this is no disrespect, but he's probably thinking, get out of here, will you, Nuno? Like, do you know what I mean, though? Do you get what I'm saying? You go for Mourinho, even if things were bad. I mean, they look to be even worse now than they were under Mourinho currently.
When you have a player like that, And he doesn't really want to be there. You've got to show some kind of ambition in terms of a managerial appointment or something to make him want to play. I think that's fair. And, you know, the only thing I can compare it to a little bit is Declan at West Ham. If Moyes doesn't perform to that level and we don't bring in new signings this summer, his head's going to get turned naturally anyway, because he's looking and thinking, well, why am I here? And Kane has given so much service to Tottenham. I understand their stance with 150 mil. He has been silly by signing the contract, but I just think it's disappointing for a player of that quality to not win a trophy. I like for him currently now to be sitting on no trophies. He's, you know, at points he's been world class. The argument he still is take current form out of it. So, you know, even as a Tottenham player, and as hard as it is to say, I do feel sorry for him.
Maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit with Kane, but I just think you've seen a lot.
Oh, you are. You're basically saying he's done out.
He's finished that.
You've seen a lot of players.
Spin him off.
To be fair, you've seen a lot of players. Van Persie, Sanchez, Rooney, just suddenly.
No, but come on, this is the first time he's had a drop off, bro. This is the first time he's had a drop off.
It's only been 5 games.
Think about the first 3-4 games.
And there's mitigating circumstances as well.
The first 3-4 games of the Euros, Kane, until he scored that goal against Germany, he wasn't great, was he? Let's be honest.
I agree.
There's been little signs for me.
I think you put him in that City team and he gets loads. There was points yesterday. They miss it, man. They miss the striker. There's times where maybe you can put a ball in the box, whether or not you agree that's the right things to do. But sometimes where I'm thinking, right, if there's a striker in there, man, they even, let's say, for example, there was the chance which Donnarumma saved and he spilled it. And Sterling was going, oh, and then he reacted. And I said, if that's an Aguero, if that's a Harry Kane, they're anticipating that. You know, a Cavani, a Ronaldo, they anticipate that stuff. Sterling was too busy going, oh, whereas a proper number 9 would go, there, I'm on that. And I think Harry Kane would get loads at City. That's just my opinion, though.
I just think the thing with Kane, he just spends so much time outside the box that when he goes into a team where he doesn't need it.
Though. Do you not think that would change?
It would, but I just think I think with City at the minute, watching them yesterday, they're a strange team, City. Like in terms of when they don't score and they go behind, you still get more goals than at Tottenham. But I don't know. Just look at Son. If you compare Son and Kane in that one in terms of this season, especially like that City game when Tottenham beat them, I just don't see. I just think Son's the better player out of the two at this moment in time. I think he's the one who's more exciting. There's more to him at this moment in time. I just think he's got to change his agent. He's got to really. I think that's one big thing because I don't know how you speak to your brother again after he's done a deal like that. I don't think I would. I don't.
Kane is also the type of player, as unlikely as it is currently with the way Tottenham are playing, that he will go and score and then score again and then score again and then it will keep going. He is a player where he has these spells. I think people were mentioning he doesn't score in August, and then the minute he gets a goal, it just doesn't stop. So I think he'll be all right, but I think I predicted anyway this season going into it, it'll be a drop off from last because it's just you look at the change in playing style. He doesn't want to be there the way Tottenham are playing, and he must look around and think, not being funny, but Dele Alli's barely pulling up trees, is he? So he's a far world away from what he was when it was prime.
He's done.
Yeah.
Dele Alli's done.
Oh, I thought you meant Harry Kane. I was like, you changed it too.
No. Like Dele's done, isn't he? Dele's done.
Dele's mad. Dele's only.
He needs to leave Tottenham.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
He needs.
But isn't that another case of? Couldn't they have accepted mega money for Dele Alli a couple of seasons back as well?
I don't think there was the same interest, was there? Who was after him? I don't know. Maybe there was, but
he's got to do what Lingard. He's got to do what Lingard did last season.
Yeah.
Go out on loan. Maybe West Ham. It's not good enough for West Ham now, but maybe go out on loan somewhere.
They come back and score the winner again.
I can't stand Dele Alli. Can't stand him.
Yeah, but we couldn't stand Lingard.
Yeah, but it's different when it's Tottenham, mate. It's like, but in fairness, if you could get what Dele Alli was somehow, he's a player. Yeah. He's a serious player. Yeah. So it's bizarre he's declined. Because I can't really pinpoint where it's gone wrong. Mourinho come in, then he started scoring again. Then it's gone off again. He needs to go to a side that, similar to Lingard with West Ham, that just suit his strengths and get his confidence back, and then you'll see a player there.
Yeah, for sure. We'll move on because we haven't done enough. I feel a bit harsh for not giving Aston Villa a fair shake, to be fair, because we were just focusing on Spurs, but they're clicking into gear. Oscar, give us the score prediction for Spurs Villa then.
2-1 Villa.
2-1 Villa, Corey?
2-1 Villa.
I'm going to go for one apiece. I'm going to go for one apiece. As much as Spurs, I don't know. One apiece. He needs to get something or he will be sacked, doesn't he? Right, let's do West Ham at Brentford now. Corey's moment to shine. He's been sat there waiting to shine. Before we do come to you for West Ham, I just want to say on Brentford, Oscar, like seeing them getting that free against Liverpool and everyone gushing, I was like, oh, where have we gone? Do you know what I mean? Like that was us last season. They're a great side, man. They're doing bits, right?
Yeah, they're a good team, but I'm not sure they're quite as good as what we were last season.
I agree.
I don't think they'll finish top 10. I still think they'll be in gap. I just think the only thing with Brentford is, outside of Tony, is there that person who can score the goals if Tony got an injury or slight drop off in form? But wow, I've never seen anyone win headers off Van Dijk, but he did. He actually was up for that battle. And to be honest, for a lot of the game, he looked like he was doing really well in the battle. But they're a good team, Brentford. David Raya obviously produced some unreal saves in the game. They've invested well. Their players in interesting.
They always do, bro. They're amazing. They are amazing, man.
There is some options off the bench. I think obviously they played two up top. They're one of the few teams that played two up top, and there's a chance they probably are going to finish above us at this moment in time, and that's something maybe we need to make peace with, because we've said, look, as Leeds fans have said a lot about Brentford, haven't we, over the last couple of years, but Thomas Frank's done a good job. As much as we don't like him, you can't deny that. He has done a good job, and I think obviously long term, in terms of staying up consistently, I think it'll be more difficult. I do think that. But they'll give anyone a game. I don't see them really getting battered in a game by anyone other than maybe your Cities or your Chelseas. I think they'll give absolutely everyone the game this season. And the good thing, the thing I like about Brentford is they went to play Liverpool. They played on the front foot, and they showed that if you do play on the front foot, you can get joy. You don't just have to sit back against these teams. And the fact they did it, and Chelsea went as part of the bus, fair play to Brentford. You know, they got the result they deserved.
Yeah, for sure. Before I come to Corey, I just need to remember while it's fresh in my memory. Locks has gone for a Spurs 2-1 win. Spurs 2-1 win. I almost
You're
forgot
relentless,
there.
bro. You're relentless.
I forgot, man. And if I don't get it, I'll get an email off Lee saying we're missing this one. So I need to remember to do it. Corey, are you concerned at home against Brentford, or do you think it's another 3 points in the bag?
No, I think it's a tight, cagey game. I've got to be honest. I watched the Brentford Liverpool game. They really impressed me. I think, we've seen teams come up from the Championship, particularly with the way that Brentford play, and be naive and give the ball away and play out from the back. They've got no issue in playing it into Ivan Toney whatsoever, and they'll do it regularly. And they've just got a trigger point, and they'll overload you, and then all of a sudden they've got 5 in the box. And West Ham have to be able to deal with that. We've got, again, against Leeds, I thought we were naive in the first half. If we try and play on the front foot and get possession and push the fullbacks high, you give them opportunity. So we have to pick our moments as much as they will. And then particularly when they're defensive as well, they'll keep compact. They've got a back 5, they've got a midfield 3, and they'll sit in, they'll tuck in, and it's a problem. I think West Ham have got to try and find a way of breaking them down. I think it's all on our attacking midfielders. I think Fornals, Ben Rama's played well against them previously. Bowen, they've all got to be fluid. Antonio's got to play on the shoulder, but I don't think it's easy at all. It'd be remiss of me to sit here and say it's going to be like a whitewash against the newcomer. It isn't. I think it's probably 1-0. And bear in mind, we've got the Europa tomorrow. So I don't know how strong Moyes goes, but against Manchester United towards the last 20.
Who do you play tomorrow, Corey?
We play Rapid Vienna, mate, at home.
Okay.
So we can afford, apparently we can afford to rest players. And we did it against Manchester United well. And it's a lot of encouragement for me to see how well we can play without some of our key players. I've got a feeling Moisey will go strong from the start tomorrow anyway, and then rotate. And I think it's important that he does that, because if West Ham start to tire in the last 20 minutes and we really want the 3 points, and I don't think we'll sit back for a draw either, Brentford could hurt us as well. And that's the thing. We've seen Mbuemo, the way that he can get at players and get in beyond. It's not easy, mate. I've gone for 1-0 West Ham, though. Obviously, I've got to back us. I think we've just got enough quality to nick it.
Yeah. I think so too, mate. Yeah, I'm going to go similar to the Leeds result. I'm going to go 2-1 West Ham. 2-1 West Ham in this one. Oscar?
Yeah, 2-1 West Ham.
Yeah, 2-1. Locks has gone for a 1-0 Brentford win with a 90th minute winner from Pontus Jansson. I'm being told Pontus Jansson with a 90th minute winner. Right, let's do final game. Big one, massive one. Liverpool versus Manchester City. Salah's inevitable. More so than Cristiano Ronaldo this season. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. And I think he wins them this game. Oscar, talk to me about this fixture, mate.
Yeah, I don't know what you lads thought. I thought City were pretty poor or average yesterday. Maybe average yesterday. I didn't think City played well at all, to be honest. He had a couple of chances, but I never really felt like at 1-0 against PSG they were getting back into the game.
It's almost as if they're missing a Harry Kane that's like a Fernando Torres,
well,
isn't
it? We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. To be honest, they were so slow, City. I thought they were lacking that little bit of pace. I think they waited far too long to put on Foden. I think as soon as
he was good when he came on, didn't he?
Yeah,
he actually did something. Yeah.
He caused Hakimi some problems at right back. I just thought Grealish, it was all about trying to win fouls and just thinking, no, try and take on your man from time to time. You're thinking your Grealish, your Mahrez. I just thought they were both particularly poor, I thought, yesterday. And Sterling's obviously playing through the middle, and you're thinking he's not particularly in the best run of form. Is he going to bury the chance when it comes to him? Probably not. You're better off putting Ferran Torres there. Foden, just somewhat, trying someone else in that false nine role. Even KDB's been a little bit not 100% at it either. So I think it's coming at a bad time, this game for City. As good as they were against Chelsea, there is no way Liverpool will sit off them. Liverpool are going to go full press. The only problem Liverpool have got is Trent isn't playing. I think he's got a couple of weeks out rather than months. But I think it will be Jimmy Milner at right back. But we know James Milner, his experience, he will probably go in there against Grealish, and you won't count him out of doing a good thing against Grealish, to be fair. But I think Liverpool win this game. I think Mane from one side, Salah from the other. I just think it's going to cause too many problems for the fullbacks. We know Kyle Walker's got a mistake in him, especially. I think the big thing is the crowd as well. City, they've got a bad record at Anfield when the crowd's in there. They tend to get battered, to be honest. They're not even beat. They tend to get battered at City, at Liverpool. So I'll go 2-1. I'll go 2-1, but I think Liverpool will be relatively comfortable in the game. I just don't see City upsetting the odds in this game. I think it's come far too soon from this game.
Yeah. Do you back City in this one? Obviously, we all said, the majority of us part Locks, and he's made some wild predictions tonight, so he's a bit all over the shop. But
too many fish bowls.
Yeah. He backed City, and they did beat Chelsea. Do you give them any hope in this? I say any hope as though they're a dead team.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we don't really want to say that after the Chelsea game because we sometimes forget, don't we, because of the sort of the weaknesses that City do have with the number 9 position, that they're not a good team anymore. But having said all of that, I think Liverpool are favourites in this game. Oscar mentions the Anfield thing. I think that is important. Liverpool look really on it this season, and Mo Salah looks fantastic. And the way that he took his finish, I think it was for maybe the second when he's just beat the offside. He's a brilliant player, and he's in top form. City, for me, I don't know if Liverpool, particularly with Van Dijk this season, I just don't feel that they're as vulnerable. And I'm talking generally across that back four. And I don't think you'll see Milner, as we see Trent, getting forward, playing high and wide. I think it'll be just a little bit more conservative in that sense. And then it comes down to, can those front three break them down? And you feel that Jota will find space at times. Mane's not been great, but again, athletic. I just think they got too much, in fairness. And I think it will still be a 2-1 to Liverpool. But yeah, I'd have to back them as favourites. And I think they're under the radar a little bit as title challengers even now, because they are showing serious credentials. Take the Brentford thing out of it, because Brentford were fantastic and how they got back into it. But Liverpool definitely are title contenders 100%.
Yeah, like after Chelsea beat Spurs, and I said on Twitter, I can't see anyone stopping them. And then rightly so, loads of Liverpool fans came straight at me and was like, "No, Liverpool, 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 Liverpool."
Yeah. But the
And
problem
then
is with
obviously-
Liverpool, that Liverpool will go and they'll win. You know, I'm not saying they go and win 10, but they will go on an unbeaten run for a long time when they start picking up a head of steam. And that's the thing where realistically, can Chelsea do that yet? We haven't seen them even do it last season. Yes, they can keep clean sheets. Yes, they can be consistent, but can they consistently win and compete? Because we know the margin with City and Liverpool over the past 2 seasons, 3 seasons has been so close. So I think they've got the mentality as well, in fairness to them. And on paper, you say Chelsea because of Lukaku, but you can't write Liverpool off, and they've won the thing as well. And that is a problem.
The thing you got as well is that if Salah doesn't score, and that's not likely to happen, they've still got your Manes, your Jotas. Firmino came on yesterday, got 2 goals, 2 really good finishes, to be fair. They've got goals, and even Curtis Jones is going to chip in with a few. And
he was brilliant yesterday by all accounts, wasn't he? I'd not seen the game, but I've seen a lot of people say he was brilliant yesterday, Jones.
A couple of assists, and he's obviously coming on quite a bit. I think obviously his big opportunity has come because of unfortunately, the Harvey Elliott injury. I don't think he would have really got a chance. Obviously, Thiago's out as well, and that might be something that maybe slightly. I think it does help City that Thiago's not there, but I still just think there's a lot more. I look at the City team. I don't know who's getting 20 goals a season in that City team, realistically, at this moment in time. With Liverpool, you can make a case for...
I'm not going to do it. I won't do it.
It's fair. Yeah, it's fair. Even if you put Jota in that City team, even if you put Jota, maybe the least of the 4, it would still improve City. That's the thing. And he's probably the backup centre-forward for Liverpool, so it sums it up quite a bit, but...
Do you think the Torres thing's over with now, or will we see Torres? You never know with Pep. He just he proper mixes it up, doesn't he? And then we're like, oh, Torres is done, and then he'll probably start in the false 9 on Sunday.
I think, to be honest, it'll be Torres or Foden. I think if Foden doesn't start against Liverpool, I think it really hands the initiative, because obviously, Liverpool are going to press high, but I just think Grealish and Mahrez, they lack that little bit of speed now. Especially, I think Grealish has never been particularly quick, but Mahrez was. But Mahrez is kind of into his 30s now. He's not got that burst of speed to really worry at the high line. Foden has. Torres has. Sterling has as well, but Sterling's obviously not quite on it at this moment in time. But Pep, Pep's going to do something weird in this game. He might even put Gundogan or KDB in the false 9. We always know Pep's going to do... You always know with Pep to expect the unexpected. He's going to do something different in this game. There's no doubt about it. He's going to have to, because his record at Liverpool is not great. It's not great. If you take lockdowns out of it, it's not great at all. So he will try something different.
Yeah. And look, everyone said Tuchel had his number, and he pulled up trees, didn't he, and got him a result at the weekend. So, look, I'm going to go for a Liverpool shutout 2-0. I think Liverpool are brilliant at the minute, like I say. So, and Salah, just inevitable, isn't he? You two have given me your score predictions, I believe.
2-1.
You have.
I'm just copying Oscar in the hope I can kind of make up the ground.
Locks has gone for a stalemate in this one apiece, so that's going to finish 1 apiece. And then it's the international break, which is a load of rubbish, man. We've got 2 games, I think, Andorra and
Albania.
Andorra and Albania. It'll be interesting to see if Paddy's fit this weekend, whether or not he gets his England call up again. He might have a chance to get some goals against Andorra. So hopefully Paddy is fit. We'll have to wait and see. Just a bit of an update. We will do something during the international break. If the lads are still free and are able to do it, we will do something. Even if it's just reviewing the season so far, picking a team of the season so far. I don't know. We will do something. And then what we're going to do when the international break returns, we are going to start doing a before the whistle blows and after the whistle blows. I don't know if I'm going to call it after the whistle blows.
The final whistle.
I don't know. After the whistle's gone.
Yeah.
After the whistle's gone, when time's up. I don't know. But we're going to do that on a Monday night. We're going to do that on a Monday night at 8 o'clock. I know it'll clash with certain Monday night football games, so we might have to, if we're playing Monday, we might have to switch it up and we'll do it on the Tuesday. But we're going to do a review and a preview. So I think people are loving your shirt as well, Oscar. Let them have a look, mate.
You can see that. I don't know if you can see that.
If you read this, you love.
It's the old classic from all these TV, mate.
Yeah, it is, mate. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Where is Robin Koch? That's a good question. Where is he?
Does he even exist, mate? Does he even exist?
I think him and Llorente are the same person, and it's just like he just shaves off his mustache when he's supposed to be Llorente.
Yeah, man. I think anyway. Sack him off now. Bin him off. Get Creswell and Strauch. Just let them two play centre back, man. That'll be our future centre back partnership forever, man. So let them in. And then when Leo Hijeld is ready, the next Virgil van Dijk, he can come in as well, and we'll play free at the back, man. Exactly. Be like rocks, man. Be like rocks. Right. Okay. Oscar, what are you doing this weekend? All these TV. What you got planned?
So a bit build up for the Watford game. Probably go and release that tomorrow. It is Thursday tomorrow, isn't it? I'm losing track of the week. Thursday tomorrow, so we'll release that for Saturday's game. Obviously, the usual post-match stuff, fans post-match. My post-match will hopefully be a little bit calmer this week because we're going to win that game against Watford. It's going to be a routine win. We all know it. So yeah, make sure you check us out anyway. All these TVs you'll already know anyway, guys.
Yeah, make sure you check them out. Also, guys, before I go to Corey, Locks has a new channel. I believe he's done a video, the best team outside of the top six, with Corey, one of his new videos. It's called Locks in the Box, which I think is quite a cool name, actually. It's quite catchy. So make sure you check that out. The link is in the description. Corey, have you, that video's gone out? I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm assuming it's got Rafinha in.
Yeah, you know it does, mate. We couldn't do it and leave him
Is
out.
Phillips in there?
Yeah.
No, he's not in there.
He's not?
Oh, really?
No. But, I mean, look. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of good players. The problem was it was 4-4-2. If he changed it up, then maybe it's a different conversation. But you'll have to watch it.
Yeah, you're not giving it away. Yeah, well, actually, I'm gonna have to watch this. I can't believe I've got to watch them.
Was Melier in there?
No.
Nah. Outside of Leeds, Oscar, he's not rated, man. He's not rated, you know.
I'll rate him.
Corey does, yeah.
Yeah.
Corey does that, I think, because you speak to us regularly, but everyone I speak to don't watch the old guy. He's rubbish. He's got too many mistakes. I'm like, where are these mistakes? He's made like one or two. Like, what?
We'd have conceded 20 goals this season. I'm not even exaggerating. I am not exaggerating. We'd have conceded 20 goals. If Casilla was in next to the Melier, we would be breaking records in Europe at this moment in time for goals conceded.
Yeah, 100%. Who is the goalie?
Martinez.
That's
fair.
I can
It
was between Martinez and Schmeichel. I'll give it away, right? And it was kind of like Martinez. Okay. I would have taken him at West Ham 2 years ago, and I kind of looked, but Melier's a good keeper. Yeah. It's just,
it sounds like a good video. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. Everyone
I had to nearly die on a hill for some West Ham players. Literally, I was like, I can't not have it. Yeah, there was one player I was like, nah, he's got to go in. You can't not have him in.
Obviously, Declan Rice.
Yeah,
no, that was straightforward. It was like, yeah, all right. Dexter.
Thomas Souček. Oh, it'd be Mikel Antonio, won't it?
No, hang on. You're spoiling it. Let people go and watch it. Subscribe to Locks and go and watch it.
Corey, what are you doing, mate? How did your Leeds review do anyway? Did it do all right?
Yeah, it did all right. It did okay. Yeah, I thought I was probably going to get some stick, but I didn't. I was very I can't believe me in the last video last week. I was giving it like these lot of nothing, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I got humble, man. I got humble, definitely. I got brought down a peg. Now, I did all right.
Good.
I can't remember what I've done this week so far, actually, to be fair to you. I've put out a preview for the Europa League.
That's a good sign.
It's working now, do you know what I mean? Everything's all up in the air, but Rapid Vienna preview's been out. It was out today. So we've got a guy called the Euro Expert on just to discuss them and what West Ham can expect. I'm going to do a post-match after the game. It's going to be a bit crafty because I'm staying in a hotel straight after, so I'll try and get something out then. Brentford preview probably out Saturday morning, I would have thought, and then post-match, and it will just all follow. So hopefully, I'm talking about 2 West Ham wins next week. If not, it might get a little bit tricky, particularly if it's Rapid Vienna.
Ah, man, you'd be right. Are you away or at home on tomorrow?
Home. So it was the first. It's actually the first ever Europa League or sort of UEFA Cup group stage match that West Ham have ever had at home. So it's a big it's a big thing, really. So hopefully it'll be full and the atmosphere will be good. I expect it will.
Yeah, man, for sure. To be fair, West Ham were a good set of fans, actually.
Yeah, what do you think, man? What do you think? I'm gutted I
Yeah,
wasn't
they
there.
were. It was good banter.
They were good.
Good banter.
And I've seen a lot of them actually on social media say how good Leeds fans were and what an experience that was and that. So I think Corey and all Leeds TV and us have just brought West Ham and Leeds together, man. I think
I'm gutted, man. I knew that atmosphere was going to be absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
Because both sets of fans feed off each other. Because you create that noise, and particularly with the West Ham away support, they just won't stop singing. And they're giving that type of game. Yeah, there was a bit of that, wasn't there? You see,
There was a bit of that. There was a bit of that.
It was always going to be. Listen, mate, I got shouted at by 15-year-old Southampton fans. You know, when I went to St Mary's, so it was always going to be more at Ellen Road, mate.
Well, that's the confession you shouldn't make, mate. That you were beating up 15-year-olds.
They were giving it. I was like, I'm out of it, mate. I'm out of it. They were screaming and shouting at us.
Love
That's
that.
the least likely place I can think of where that kind of thing would happen.
I know, mate. It shocked me as well.
Exactly.
Maybe Fulham,
This is the point
actually.
he's making, Have you seen this as well? I don't know if you've seen this, that Arsenal have reduced Leeds United's Carabao Cup allocation from 8,000 down to 5,200. And the reasons for doing this are due to persistent standing the last time the two teams played each other.
When was that?
That the cup game
last year. Yeah, 2020. FA Cup on it, Robbie Gotts, etc. And then someone's just put modern football. All my days. Like, how bad is that Arsenal says, they were standing too much. Let's reduce their ticket allocation by 3,000.
persistent standing
for an away crowd as well. That's just bang out of order, mate.
Like, I'm not even going to say what I need to say. And I hope now, as a bastion of football, that we go and absolutely batter them now. You know what I mean? Stick your modern football, your prawn sandwiches up your jacksie. We'll knock you out of the cup, and we're going to win the Carabao. That's what it's all about. I love that Carabao Cup drink. Minging. It is minging, you know, really bad. I drank it when I watched us in the Carabao Cup just for shits and giggles, and it were minging. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. I think we'll leave it there. I'm rambling now. These guys have kept them too long. The football will be kicking off shortly as well, won't it? 6 of 8. Or it already has. Has there been any goals? Let's have a look. Juve Chelsea, isn't they? And
Man United, Villarreal, isn't it?
All 0-0s apart from Benfica are beating your team, Barcelona. Oscar's absolutely
what a shock that is.
Barcelona are shocking.
What a massive shock that is, you know.
Right, we'll leave it there. Thank you as always for everyone that's watched live and those that will watch after the fact. Make sure you check out Corey's channel, Oscar on All Leeds TV, and of course, Locks in the Box. And we will see you next Thursday.